thought about how much time you spend at the check-in counter when you're traveling, dropping off your bags, or waiting for them at the end of your trip at the baggage carousel? George Clooney's character in the movie Up in the Air, Ryan Bingham, has 35 minutes of flight. He goes on, I travel 270 days a year. That's 157 hours. That makes 7 days. You willing to throw away a week on that? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members, welcome guests. The purpose of my speech this evening is to tell you about the art of traveling lightly. I'll share with you some of the benefits of only bringing carry-on baggage when you travel. I'll go through some packing strategies, and I'll tell you about some exceptions when you absolutely can't avoid checking luggage. As the quote from Up in the Air clearly states, there's a definite time-saving advantage to not checking any luggage. Quite simply, no waiting. There's also an economic advantage. With more and more airlines charging for checked luggage these days, chances are you'll save some money by only bringing carry-on. You'll also save money not having to pay a porter to carry your bags for you, and possibly by being able to easily take public transit because you don't have to take a taxi because of all the stuff you're bringing. Traveling lightly is also much more practical. It's much easier to change your travel plans, take an earlier flight for example, if the airline doesn't have to worry about transferring your luggage from one flight to another. And let's look at the security aspect. I'm not talking about terrorism, I'm talking about theft. Things go missing from checked luggage all the time. It's happened to me before I got wise to the ways of the carry-on, of course. Finally, how about the environmental benefit? Planes load their fuel according to their weight. If a plane weighs less, has to carry less fuel. Now you might think that you're simply traveling with carry-on luggage only won't make a difference in terms of the fuel burn, but believe me, it will. Let's say, imagine half of the passengers on a long-haul flight decide to not check a bag. That's a weight savings of about 20 kilos per person, conservatively, times about 150 people. That's 3 metric tons. If the airplane weighs 3 tons less, that equals less fuel burn, which equals less greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Given all these points, I feel like I've already convinced you about the benefits of traveling with carry-on luggage only, so I guess I could just end my speech right here. Sense of rejection, however. I feel resistance to my idealistic scenario of lightening our load. But Luke, I'm going away for a week. Surely I need to check a bag. No, you don't. What do you really need for a one-week trip? I'll tell you. According to the website onebag.com, it's imperative that you begin your packing with a list. They have different lists based on different types of trips, but generally speaking, if you're going to be traveling for 7 days, you need to bring some toiletry items, each under 100 milliliters, of course. 7 pairs of socks and underwear, and when selecting your socks, bring the old ones that are already on their last legs. Everybody has those socks. And throw them away once you've worn them and given them their last hurrah, thereby making some room in your bag for a few little things you might like to buy on your trip. 2 pairs of pants, one of which you'll be wearing on the airplane, leaving only 1 pair in your bag. 2 pairs of shoes, again, 1 pair on your feet, 1 pair in your bag. 3 t-shirts, a couple dress shirts, a sweater. You can mix and match these items so it doesn't look like you were wearing the same thing all week in your vacation photos. If you need to bring a jacket with you, chances are you'll wear that on the airplane as well, leaving a little bit more room in your bag. Now you may be tempted to bring more things. Resist. Trust me. And if you don't trust me, trust the authors of onebag.com. You don't need it. Now, given the restrictions of bringing liquids through the security checkpoint, I recommend against it. However, if you really want to bring somebody some of our famous Canadian maple syrup, get it in the duty-free. Same goes for alcohol. The maple syrup will probably cost a little bit more, but you'll save a whole bunch on the booze, so it'll all work out in the end. Seems like a few more of you are on board with my idea of a less taxing travel experience. But I still sense a little bit of apprehension. Luke, you say, I'm traveling for a whole month. Do laundry. I mean, you do it at home. But Luke, I'm going on a golf vacation. You got me. There is no way the airline is going to let you bring your golf clubs on board. You're going to have to check them in. Same goes for a surfboard, a bicycle, pretty much any other type of sporting equipment. Some other examples of times where you absolutely cannot get away without checking a bag are, if you're moving, for example, you're going to have way too much stuff. If you're traveling with young children, you'll have to check in your stroller. Musical instruments also usually have to be checked in. And the final example of when I would recommend you check a bag, as a matter of fact, I would go so far as to commend you for doing so, would be to bring donations to less fortunate people in developing countries. Let's say you're going to Cuba for a week on the beach. Before you go, take a look through your clothing, your household items, your cosmetics, and throw everything you don't need into a suitcase you don't need anymore either, because I mean, who's really going to need suitcases anymore? Then give it away to people when you get there. They will appreciate it, and you'll feel great. So I'm sure you can all see the benefits of traveling with only carry-on luggage. I've talked about the practicality, the economic, even the environmental benefits, and I've shown you when you can't avoid checking a suitcase. So I know, whenever I run into any of you in the airport, you're going to have a big smile on your face, and I'm going to give you a high five. Because all you're going to have with you will be your carry-on bag.